the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You want to back not anybody.
There we go. I like that idea a little better. We'll let everybody know that you're not Greg.
Yeah.
All right, our first item for business is the approval of the minutes, the claim docket, and the consent agenda. So I entertain a motion to approve those items.
I'll make a motion to approve those items.
Second. So we have a motion by Mrs. Will and seconded by Mr. Stock to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of March 14th, the claim docket, and all the consent items included in the consent agenda. Any other comments or questions? All in
I
favor?
have one question. I just thought of this. On the facility use requests with the new gyms coming online, is there anything we need to update on those forms?
We shouldn't, because the form has a place for rent, it has a place for utilities, custodial costs, and
Is there a,
we don't have an established, what are we gonna charge?
no, but I mean, I guess to your comment, is there a kind of a what you can do, what you can't do type of a,
That's what I was wondering if we needed to look into.
you know,
because
like
there's
no
more capabilities.
hard balls on the floor, no, I mean, maybe we should come up with a,
Do we have that for the other gyms?
probably not, but given the fact that it was a universal floor, I don't know, I think it's probably something we ought to consider and include into that if we want to, but,
I'm just saying, we probably ought to have that for all the gyms. Don't you think?
Basically, when somebody asks to use the facility, we look at it and we determine whether or not we're going to allow it or not, and then if we're gonna allow it, we bring it to you.
and they kind of state what they're gonna use it
Yeah.
for and that sort of thing.
You know, we really haven't had anything other than the Girl Scout, Boy Scouts, and the youth facility, the youth sports, and those sorts of things that ever request to ask to use
Yeah.
that.
All right, well, I think it might be of consideration, especially if it, I can just think, I mean, if we have candy or drinks, or somebody wants to play hockey on the floor or something like that, I don't know. Anyway, we can consider it later. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next item is patrons' concern, and at present, we do not have anybody signed up for patrons' concern, so we'll mark that as taken care of. New business.
Well, we have Jennifer Knighty here, the leader of the BPA, and some students, and they're here to do a presentation for us, so I'll turn it over to them.
Thank you for having us in here this evening. This is Cheyenne Engemeyer and Abby Vogel, and I'm going to give you just a little history of Business Professionals of America, and then I'm going to turn it over to these young ladies. BPA, as it's known, is a co-curricular vocational organization, just like FFA. It started like in '66, but just in Wisconsin. And then by '73, it was a national organization. As of 2015, there are over 43,000 members in 22 states and Puerto Rico. The main goal of BPA is to prepare students in workplace skills. I know what I have to cheat. Since 2001, which was my first complete class of students, we have had one state president, 2 district presidents, and our district is 10, and the 7 that qualified this year for nationals makes our total 33 students. We've had, since I've been here, all but 5 years, students have qualified, so 2 out of 3 years. That's, when I went back to look, I was pretty amazed by that. So we'll turn it over to these young ladies.
One thing she did mention is that it prepares students for the workforce, and it is Business Professionals of America, but we're not just all businesses, like business majors. There are many kids going into the medical field. There are some ag kids, some mechanic kids that are going into like construction or something with mechanics.
I think that's what Jacob claimed.
Yeah.
Car automotive. He's gonna work at Toyota. So I don't know exactly what that means.
So he's used BPA to help him like further his business career also. In March we went to Indianapolis and State, and we had one of our best years we've probably had in a long time, I could say. And we had 4 kids receive our Torch Awards, which is an honor. You have to fill out an application, and it's based on your service and commitment within BPA and also like outside of BPA and extracurriculars and community service. And we had 4 kids receive that. I don't know, is that the most we've ever had?
Mm-hmm.
The most we've ever had at once. And then Cheyenne and I also received our Member Recruiter Award because we recruited so many new members this year because we lost so many seniors last year. And one thing this year, I was able to fill out an application, and I, out of three students this year, received a $400 scholarship, and as one of the students, I was able to receive that this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
In May, we're going to Boston for nationals. 7 of us are going to go and compete. And since we won our Torch Awards, we refilled out another application, and it's a little more advanced in nationals for the Ambassadors Award. So actually 5 of us will be receiving the Ambassadors Award and nationals, which is really cool. And then also, me and Abby filled out a BPA Cares for Special Olympics Award. And throughout the year, we've done different activities like raised money, like passed a bucket at a basketball game, and then we handed out refreshments after a Special Olympics basketball game, and just done different things like that to rack up like money and hours, which we filled out an application, and we will be receiving a BPA Cares Special Olympics Award.
We also had, we had 5 people, 4 guys that signed up to do the polar plunge, and they raised money to do that, and I think we raised $410 for that. But the kids didn't do the polar plunge because their mom said it was too cold.
And it was. That was February 13th, and it was cold.
The way the contests work is, I mean, some of them you study for, some of them you don't. Some of them there's computer based, which is what I do. But there's different levels. Like we first had to go the day of Snowball, of course. So in December we went to district and we competed in all of our events. And we found out that day if we moved on to regional or to state. And then in March we went to state. And then if you qualified then you move on to nationals. And if it's like a computerized event, then it's the top 5 that move on. And then if it's like a team event, then only the top 3 teams move on. So Connor Vogel actually won first for the first time ever in entrepreneurship at regionals and moved on to state, which is really cool.
Also, one thing with BPA, there's so many different competitions that a student can do. Like Connor did entrepreneurship, and he's not good at computerized events, so he chose that path. Where I took the whole computer events. Last year I qualified for nationals in Excel, and this year we both qualified for nationals in Access database. Kayla Risky, he qualified for SQL by taking a test, so he studied a bunch of materials. Drew Cook, last year he qualified in programming, and that's a class we offer at the high school, and so with that he better prepared himself through that one.
Programming. Drew Cook and Max Wright and Haley Gable both qualified in digital publishing, which is like making, I think, is it a movie?
No, it's not a movie. They make, I think this year at state they had to make a menu. They were given so much material and they had to make a menu, design their own menu, and they have so many projects to do, and they try to get through all the projects, and then they're judged on those by a basis and criteria.
That definitely should show that there's so many different things you can do, between art to even just presenting, like which we all Connor did. So then the way we paid for expenses, because this stuff is really expensive, is we took over the high school concession stand this year. So me and Abby and Miss Knighting had to restock and order and make sure that thing was up to date. But luckily, we made profit off of it because like we would have our students. Every student was required to work, so we would work some, and then we couldn't do it by ourselves. So other clubs would work too. But just off the concession stand in general, we made a profit, and that's how we paid for there's a fee to be in the club for different expenses, and then just for state and nationals and regionals. And then for state, each kid only had to pay $100, luckily for all of our concession stands and all that. And then for nationals, the only thing we're paying for is airfare, each student. So we've raised that much money off doing different things this year that it's really helped us out a lot.
Okay, so like she said, nationals this year. This year it's in Boston, Massachusetts. So we're really excited about that. There are 7 kids total that have qualified, and that's the most we've ever had, like at one time, be able to qualify. And then we also have one girl, Celeste Hill. She did not qualify in her event, but she received her Ambassador's Award, which was the service award, and so she's going to be able to go with us for that, and so she can receive her award. A couple of cool things that we get to do is BPA has rented out Fenway Park, and so we get to spend a night there, and they're having a concert there. So that's one cool thing we're looking forward to. And then they offer a lot of tours that we get to go around and see.
Luckily, both of us attended nationals in California last year, so anybody that qualified this year, we said definitely do go because it's an awesome experience. It's something really cool. I mean, there's only 3 of us that went last year, so we didn't really know many people, but like we made new friends, and it's a cool thing to do. Go out there and something that you probably don't get to do many times. So.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Can we ask questions?
Yeah.
We're gonna put you on the spot.
Okay, I'm ready.
So how long is nationals?
How many days?
Yeah.
It begins on the 6th and ends at 11 p.m. on Sunday the 8th. 4 days.
So how much would it be before, if with no fundraising at all?
The hotel is about $300 a student. Registration is $115 a student, 80 for guests or chaperones. And luckily we have some parents who want to go. So Abby's mother and father are both going.
Those are cool locations too.
Yeah, they have been anywhere from Minneapolis to Orlando, Anaheim to New York City, and everywhere in between.
I know one year I was in Indianapolis.
Yeah, we were very excited.
So do we have everything in our facility or our classes that we offer that allows us to compete at that high of a level, or are we missing something that?
We probably, that is an excellent question. Between the tech center and us, because kids that go to the tech center are technically, they're our students, so they can compete as North Posey students.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say our weakest event would be there's a digital production where they produce basically a television ad,
Mm-hmm.
and we just don't do a very good job at preparing kids for that. I mean, that takes that kid who really wants to go out and learn that on their own.
One thing that has went down, our sophomore year we took a class in Ms. Knight's class, and they haven't had it, was it our junior year?
Junior year.
It was our junior year. Last year we took the class.
That
and-
forgetfulness doesn't get
And it's a class that prepares you in all Word, like Access, Word, PowerPoint, all of them. And that's how I got better at the programs. And this year they didn't have enough students sign up for it because they didn't know what the class was. So they weren't able to have it.
I think it's just awareness. Like, I wouldn't know what Access was if it wasn't for that class, and that's what I competed in. I had no clue what Access was, and I barely knew how to use Excel until I took that class. And I think everybody, I tell the kids that are signing up for stuff next year to take it, like, you need to know this stuff.
And
so
that class is
know.
happening next year, by the way. FYI. And part of that problem is the state keeps changing the name of that class. So from the time I've been here, it's been Advanced Computer Applications, and then it was Information, Communication, and Technology. Well, that name just scares people away. And now it's going to be called Digital Applications. And it's still the same class. We've not done really anything different, except, learn the newest technology. It's that name change is confusing to students.
I know there's several universities that offer digital art, and digital art is where you create the, you know, the web pages and the commercials and those type things. I don't know what type of software, what type of technology would we need to have a digital art class?
We've got it. That's the Adobe suite of software, and we've actually had a team advance 2 nationals in web design, where they created a whole website and got it up and running, and we're one of the top 3 states. So we went to Dallas that year. That was the bird flu year, so it got it got postponed, but we went and they competed.
It's interesting. Well, that's a great, we appreciate your guys' report. It's a really good deal, and I know last year we got a little attention with you guys going to California, and I've luckily had sons that's participated in it, so.
Yeah, Jason went to Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, getting the opportunity to go to these places, I mean, let alone to see them without competing is tremendous. As a side note, I find it interesting because I was talking to Jace, my son, the other night, and I was like, okay, so as a junior in college, if there's one thing that we don't offer at North Boise that would have helped you, he said by far it's the ability to do film and
Right.
it's
And that is
interactive
our
media.
weakness.
He said we don't have anything, and he goes, it's not uncommon. He's worked in a couple internships for them to come into a group and say, hey, we need a short commercial for the website, and they just grab the camera, they go out and they film a website commercial in 10-15 minutes and come back, and he goes, we don't have anything like that.
No.
So it's interesting that you guys had kind of said that too, so. Maybe he does know what he's talking about a little bit.
Yeah, he does.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you.
I'm gonna adjust the order just real quick. I'm gonna skip the property casualty insurance and go to the overnight field trip since they're here. I'm asking the board to, Mrs. Knight sent in a request to ask the board for 7 students from BPA National Leadership to go to the conference in Boston, Massachusetts, May 5th through May 9th. She's asking for she'll have several parents that will go, and at least one will act as a chaperone on the trip. The expenses will be paid except for the sub-cost of her class, and the substitute will have to be paid from the general fund. Mike Washmer is requesting to take 9 students to the State FFA Convention at Purdue University, June 13th through the 16th. Mr. Washmer indicated that several students will be competing in their proficiency areas, and he's asking that the FFA will cover all the costs of the trip. Coach Hallington is requesting to take the boys basketball team to 2 overnight competitions over the summer, June 9th and 10th, and June 19th and 21st, Purdue University and Rose-Hulman respectively. Jason Boyle is requesting to amend the junior high lock-in to be an overnight lock-in for participating students. This lock-in is to award students for their excellence in the Heroes Wellness Challenge that they previously ended on 10/30. So asking the board to approve these overnight field trips and the Jason Boyle request with the Heroes grant.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
I'll second.
So a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mrs. Will to approve the overnight field trips as presented by Dr. Camp. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. You guys will have to let us know how you did.
You're
Follow
welcome
us on
to
Twitter.
stay.
Follow us on
If you
Twitter.
really want to stay.
Yeah, we'll get all the information to Mr. Barrett on a timely basis, and he'll be tweeting it out through the high school.
So is it through the North Posey Twitter account, or do you have one for BPA?
We do not have one for BPA.
So it's the North Posey
The
one, the
North
Barrett
Posey.
does, okay, got it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And secondly, can we get blinds for that window?
I don't buy anything. You guys would have to approve
We
us
gotta
to do
get
that.
curtains. We gotta get something. I mean, if you leave it up to me, it's gonna be a t-shirt, so put lines or something up on that window. These people are like in the jury box. Half of her face was gonna be sunburned by the end of that.
Oh, let me go sit up at that.
Yeah, we'll just have to make sure we get a 1-inch blind that will fit in between that casing and the door closure. And it will just have to hang outside, it won't be able to recess in. But yeah, the blind could go there.
Or something to at least.
I'm always over here, so I never noticed.
I mean, you
They
can see
were.
her, I mean,
They were. They
she's
were.
like fighting it the whole time.
Amy and I worked pretty hard on this over the last several weeks. Amy more so than me, providing all of these companies with all of the information that they needed to give us a competitive quote. It is a lot of information that they have to have be provided to the insurance companies. In the past, we have had Old National Bank with Wright Specialty for the property and Eastern Alliance for the workers' comp. And if you look at our past premium, it was $125,297. We put it out for competitive bid. Old National went with Wright Eastern, and Liberty at Eastern, and Assured Partners went with Cud, and Hanover, I think, is who they had. But we worked with them quite extensively, had several meetings, and went back to them after that, and we came out with the two proposals that we saw as the contenders were Old National Bank Wright Specialty and Eastern Alliance at $122,484, and Assured Partners at $126,458.77. Amy and I have gone through both packets. As I explained, there is a little bit of difference, and it's mainly in the earthquake, and so I talked about that a little bit. But I'm requesting right now that we continue to stay with Old National Bank with Wright and Eastern at $122,484 for all of our property casualty listings.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the quote from Old National with Wright Specialty and Eastern Alliance.
I'll
So-
second that.
So we have a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mr. Stock to approve the insurance quotes or insurance proposals as presented by Dr. Camp, and stay with Old National Bank with Wright Specialty and Eastern Alliance from April 14th, 2016 to April 14th, 2017. Any other comments or questions?
I'll lay this out here. This is a quick synopsis of the limits and the liabilities and the assess evaluations of all of our facilities, and you can just kind of look through the column. I got starred, and that's what we're going with, and that has all the limits and the insurance coverages.
Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Textbook adoption.
As you can see in your packet, that pretty well from kindergarten up through Algebra 2 and Geometry that we're going with McGraw-Hill. The process is a little bit different at the elementary schools, since there's two schools to agree on a textbook than the junior high and high school. The parents were involved in a committee process at each building level. But then we took it a step further for the elementary schools. During our last early release day, we had them bring their text kits that they got from each of the vendor companies. We had them bring all their rubrics that they had completed to go with each of the vendor books. We separated them by grade level, and then they also completed another rubric that we had received from the DOE that kind of graded the rigor of each textbook series. and they had discussion, and then they had chosen a representative from each grade level to present their choice of a book and the reasons why. And so then we just did a simple tally from kindergarten through 5th grade to see which textbook that they were in agreement on. And so it was like a 4-2 tally. That was McGraw-Hill then. The 6th grade decided to go with whatever the 7th and 8th grade went with at their building level, since all of that is sequential. So again, it just so happened that each of the building ended up going with the same series. So as far as vertical alignment, I was glad to see that. Any questions? There's going to be a slight increase in textbook rental from the prior math textbook. I believe it's $7. I don't know if that's, if you have the last year's on there or not. Okay. But we were just talking today that the cost of textbooks we're seeing increasingly across the board. That it's going to be more expensive. And they're increasing it because they're really pushing for a digital curriculum due to the one-on-one initiatives going through most school districts now. So I anticipate that figure will continue to climb.
This is a 6-year, unless standards and stuff change.
Right. They actually freed us from that cycle. We still follow that 6-year cycle, but as far as it being mandatory through the state, they have lifted that. And a lot of that's due to digital curriculum now, except for the area of reading. You still have to remain, you still have to do a state-approved textbook series on the reading and the English language arts. So I'm asking for approval to adopt the McGraw-Hill textbook series. And then also the upper grades in high school, there was some deviation after Algebra 2. Yeah, you can see where they went with Larson. Well, there's another one too, Pearson too.
All right, so we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the mathematics textbooks adoption request from the principals at all of the schools.
Second.
I'll second.
So a motion by Mrs. Will, seconded by Mr. Oakley to approve the mathematics textbook adoption request from the principals at all 4 buildings as presented by Dr. Wanamiller. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
I have all of the packets here.
Oh, okay.
You need to see them.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
I'll just say, she mentioned that the 6th grade went with the 7th grade, and the reason being, in several areas within the state, 6th grade is considered middle school, and a lot of elementaries go K through 5, and the middle school is 6 through 8. It's that way with the textbooks, so you have to align that 6th grade with the middle school so that they're ready for the 7th and 8th grade curriculum that they have to be ready for. So it's an alignment and a vertical alignment issue. So that happens quite often in all of the textbooks. The other area that happens is in our cafeteria with Nancy and the food service. You have different standards for K through 5 with nutrition and protein and
Calories. The calorie intake.
yeah, the calorie limit and all the sugars and everything, and then sixth grade up is different. And so when she plans her meals, she's been doing it for years, a little bit different for making sure the 6th grade get the calories that they're supposed to get. So it's kind of odd how they have to do that, and that's because we have K6 instead of K5. It's been that way for a long time. Just FYI. Next, we're going into personnel. Asking the board to accept Donald Kinzel's request to retire from the MSD in North Posey County at the end of the year. He's also asking to be placed on administrative leave and to be able to use his sick days for the remainder of the school year. And I recommend that we approve this retirement request.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the retirement request to Mr. Kinzel.
Second.
I'll second.
So a motion by Mr. Stock and seconded by Mrs. Will to approve the retirement request of Donald Kinzel, effective at the end of the 2016 school year. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. That carries.
Resignations, we have a resignation from Sandy Horn. She requests to resign from the MSD in North Posey County effective at the end of the year, and is asking the board for paid administrative leave for the remainder of the year. I'm requesting that we approve this request for her and let her resign.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Sandy Horn's request to resign.
Second.
I'll second that.
So a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mr. Stock to accept the resignation request by Sandra Horn effective at the end of the 15-16 school year and be placed on administrative leave for the remainder of the 15-16 school year. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Hires, we have several hires. Mr. Kavanaugh is requesting that hire Ashley Martin as a long-term substitute music teacher for the junior high. Mr. Kavanaugh had previously approved Mr. Kneat for this position, but will be moving him to the long-term substitute for special education and math teacher. Mr. Kavanaugh is requesting to hire Matt Gantner as the junior high track coach. Mr. Streeter is requesting to hire Luann Perry as long-term sub to replace Mr. Kinzel. Asking the board to approve these hires for the remainder of the year.
I'll make a motion to approve the hires as listed by Dr. Camp.
Second.
I'll second that.
So a motion by Mrs. Will and seconded by Mr. Stock to approve the hiring request as presented by Dr. Camp. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
We have some professional leave. Mr. Howkins is requesting to go to the coaching clinic in Indianapolis. The athletics will be paying for that cost, and he'll be asking to use the van. Jamie Bender, Carol Lou, Amy Moats, Jody Rakin asking to go to the ASBO annual meeting. They go every other year. 1 year it's held at French Lick, the next year it's held way up north somewhere. And this is an excellent meeting. We all belong to ASBO. It's the business officials meeting, and it's where one of the questions, I can't remember which board member sent me the email about the policies that we're getting ready to, what is it called? Internal controls. They'll have a lot of information on internal controls and the policy and how we're going to have to handle all the new requirements for that. It'll have a lot of things. There's going to be a lot of new requirements for the budget this year, the 2017 budget, and we're there again. We just feel like we got through with the 16, but we're getting ready to start the 17 budget, and we'll get all the information we need for that there. So this is a very important meeting for them to go to. North Elementary is asking, Shannon is asking to send these teachers to the literacy retreat at French Lick. The Title I grant will be paying for that. We did appropriate money for that, and she's also asking to send the next list of teachers to the frameworks for understanding poverty. It's in Huntingburg, and the Title I grant will be paying for that as well. And I think these are excellent opportunities for these people to be able to go to. So asking the board to approve these requests.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the professional leave requests as presented.
second?
I'll second.
So a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mrs. Will to approve the professional leave request as presented by Dr. Camp. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
I'd like to get on the record that it saddens me to say that Harold E. Schweikert, age 94, of Poseyville, Indiana, passed away. He is a long-term member and supporter of this school district. He was the president of the MSD of North Posey County School Board, or School Corporation, the original consolidation and start of this school district. And he remained on, in some sort, in some fashion, the building corporations until we just signed these last deliverances of the $6 million. So he will be truly missed, and he was a great supporter of North Posey, and it saddens me to say that he resigned, but we thank him for all of his support and efforts that he provided this school corporation. The 2016 projects, we've got all of those on the way. Most of the stuff has been ordered or processed, or I'm waiting on some just to wait to see how the money shakes out. This year we did, with the projects that we have proposed, I've got to wait until we do the bidding, which will happen this month. We'll be coming to you in May with the finalized pricing on the 3 bigger projects that we have listed. Depending on how those prices come out determines on how we're going to be able to do on some of these things that I've held up on. I've got mixed feelings. I don't know how it's going to come. I've had several people tell me that bids are coming in great and people are really sharpening their pencil. And then I just was at a meeting on Friday and they said, man, I hope you're not building anything this year because they've got so much work, they're overpricing everything. So I've gotten both ends of the spectrum, so I don't know how the pricing is going to come in. We did do a good solid square footage pricing on the projects, so I think we should be fine. But we did build it in case we have to leave a piece out here and there. We can do that as well. So we'll be coming to you in May with those projects and the final approval of moving forward to spend those funds on those bigger projects. Technology update. I have here from Eric Long. I showed you one of these a year, 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. We had to re-image every computer. We do pay for the software, so that we can have the latest and the greatest in the software. And we had to get all the machines and the infrastructure there to support all that, which we did. And it didn't happen without some pain. But this summer, the green box up there is going to be the main image of the school corporation. Every computer that you go to in the corporation will be able to house those things. And then it'll be broken down into main core images for each building. And if you go down to basically the purple, each building then has its own image that will help out the office and the different specific things that each building needs. And then if you go down to the bottom right before the end, in the red, each building has some specific software and certain locations that has to be available, such as the Autodesk for CAD and the different specialty items that certain computers need in certain labs. So he will be re-imaging every computer we have in the district this year, and it will be the entire summer to get that done. So that is not an easy process to touch every computer we have in the corporation. So that is the main thing that's happening this summer in technology. We didn't do a lot of infrastructure this summer, but it was mainly this. So we're gearing up for the next infrastructure thing. We actually had a meeting today on infrastructure and what all we're going to have to do to move forward to plan a date and set this school, whatever school year it is, won't be 16, 17, but say if it's 17, 18, what has to be done infrastructure-wise for us to be ready for one-to-one? And we sat down and we've talked about that multiple times, but we're trying to strategize and pull a plan together to bring to you. So it will take a little time to do that and a lot of money. So, I mean, just ballparking, we're talking $1 million probably. So, I mean, it's not going to be an easy thing to do. So it'll be something that we'll be planning for you. I-STEP.
Yes, we're gearing up for I-STEP Part 2 next week. That window runs April 18th through May 6th. We were granted our request to use paper pencil. If you recall, we had to take 33% of our hardware inventory off of our list because the new vendor, Pearson, recommended that we not use wireless. So they granted our request for all grade levels then to take paper pencil. The practice tests have arrived and the kids will be taking the practice test this week. We scheduled next week to begin Part 2. Do you want me to go ahead and talk about this grant?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm also happy to announce that we did receive the Indiana Literacy Early Intervention Grant for the amount of $19,800. This needs to be what's used to fund intervention programs for the grades K through 2, and it also provides professional development in the skills that the third grade students were found the weakest in from the I-STEP from the prior year. So this is the second year for the program, the second time we were awarded this, so it'll buy some software that the teachers indicated that was successful last school year, so it's aerobics, we'll continue with that. And we also have some presenters coming to us then in district for next school year for grades K through 2. I don't know if you want to make a motion to accept those funds or just.
I don't think you really have to with a
Okay.
grant like that. It's not an outside grant that we applied for.
Yes, through the DOE.
Excellent. That's always good news to
Yeah.
get money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we increased the amount of funding we were asking, almost double, so I wasn't for sure. So yeah, that is good news.
The high school counselors submitted a newsletter. They give one out. They give several out through the year. This is their newsletter for the spring and the end of the year, and for seniors and Apex Learning and different things that they provide. So there's a newsletter for you guys to look at. And that's all I have. The next school board meeting will be Monday, May the 9th, 2016. It'll be in the board office. We'll have executive session, and the regular meeting will be at 6:30. Just basically food for thought. We'll be talking a little bit about personnel, and we'll be talking, the projects that we'll be approving, and we're just at the end of the year, and then right after that, we'll be starting the budget process again. So year's coming to an end.
Like that. Anybody have any comments or questions for the good of the cause?
I guess the one thing I did want to add is, I just thought of this, talked to the Posey County Clerk, Betty Postlewaite, and she said she wants to get with you guys right after the primary to discuss ballots for the fall.
Is she gonna come up here?
She said she'd be willing to, but I know I can't say off the record, but you might want to handle this by the phone, see if we can be handled, see if Dr. Camp can handle this on the phone.
She's going to be up here for these things on these Saturdays. I'll try to catch her there and see her.
There we go.
Yeah, I've talked to her before.
Okay. I'm just saying everybody likes a brief meeting.
Yes. Well stated. Anybody else have anything? I appreciate having the groups come in. I think that's a nice change. I know we might struggle having that in June and July, potentially August, but if we can get those on a monthly basis.
We already have someone ready for May.
That's always a nice switch, and for us that aren't in those buildings or around those programs, it's definitely an ability to see into those.
Mhm.
And the kids
Good
do a
for
great,
them, too.
yeah, the kids do a great
Right.
job.
To present.
Well, the last group, I got them a 3D printer, so
Exactly.
it can't hurt, right?
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else? A motion to adjourn?
Oh, I'll make a motion to adjourn, sorry.
Second?
I'll second.
We are adjourned. Thank you.